Hey everybody, I got some new books in. It's the Shadow Hunter series by Cassandra Clare. Um, this is book one, City of Bones. I'll start reading here and see how far we go or get or what have you. And so here we go. I'm going to open this up. I'm gonna leave the back alone, and I'm gonna show you the map though. This thing's cool. This is a pretty awesome map in here. And then we got City of Bones, book one by Cassandra Clare. Reading by Troy Parker. Here's the foreword. We'll read the foreword. All the stories are true. That's what Jace Wayland tells Clary Frey at the end of the first book of the Shadow Hunters Chronicles, City of Bones. Jace means, of course, more than one thing by this. He means that everything she'd always been told didn't exist. Vampires, werewolves, fairies, ghosts, and monsters of all shape, size, and intention did exist after all, and that, in fact, the world is full of them. He means that the stories we believe in our hearts, stories in which we are the heroes, stories in which there are good people who rise up to defeat the evil, stories in which there is always hope, are also true. Clary in City of Bones, feeling a true sense of wonder as she flies over New York City, seeing revealed below all the magic and enchantment that had been previously hidden from her. All the stories are true. When I set out to write City of Bones, I was in love with stories about vampires and fairies and warlocks, but I was also in love with the mythological tales of angels and demons. I was fascinated by Paradise Lost and Dante's Inferno and Mike Carey's Lucifer. I was fascinated with the way that human beings had grappled with the idea of absolute evil and absolute good, tempered with love and free will. I wanted to create a world that was rich in folklore, the tales people tell each other about things that go bump and bite in the night, but which also incorporated the existence of figures of myth, angels so powerful that one look at them would blind you, demons so evil that their blood could change the nature of your soul from good to evil. I wanted to make real that which is so shrouded in myth and history that it has become symbolic. When Valentine frees Jace, I think it's Jace, from his prison in the Silent City, he carries with him a sword and explains, "This is the blade with which the angel drove Adam and Eve out of the garden, and he places at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubim and a flaming sword which turn every way." Later, Simon comes into possession of the sword of the Archangel Michael. The idea that these objects of immense power and history were real things our heroes could touch and use delighted me. The existence of angels and demons in the world of shadow hunters is the myth from which every other aspect of the stories is derived. Shadow hunters were created from the blood of angels. Fairies are part angel, part demon. Warlocks are the offspring of humans and demons. Werewolves and vampires are humans who bear demon diseases. I wanted to create a universe where myth and folklore dovetailed, where every story of magic could be explained. All the stories are true. The idea of shadow hunters came to me in part from the stories of Nephilim in the Bible, the offspring of humans and angels. They were enormous monsters who laid waste to the earth. As writers often do, I adapted what seemed compelling to me from the myth. Angels having children, when that is such a human thing to do. Of course, the shadow hunters are only created from the angel blood, but Raziel still seems to have a fatherly interest in them. The idea of being part angel, partly a symbol of goodness, and yet being beset by all the weaknesses inherent to humanity, frailty, cruelty, greed, selfishness, despair. It seemed a way to take an ancient story and ring a twist on it that would allow any reader to imagine what it might mean to be part divine, to have immense power, as a Spider-Man likes, and as Spider-Man likes to remind us, the immense responsibility that goes with it. All the stories are true. Of course, what Jace means ultimately is that stories are how we make sense of the world. The mortal instruments is the story of clay above everything else, the story of a girl who starts out ordinary and becomes a hero, a girl who first is blind to the magic in the world all around her, but comes not just to see it, but to be able to master and control it. Clary is an artist and shaper of runes, the magical language of angels, and in using that language, she shapes her own story and her own destiny. Clary and her friends are heroes who made their stories true, as in the end do we all. Chapter 1 hasn't started yet. There's a poem right here, we'll throw that in. I have not slept between the acting of a dreadful thing and the first motion. Our interim is like a phantasm or a hideous dream. The genius and the mortal instruments are then in council, and the state of man, like to a little kingdom, suffers. Then the nature of an insurrection. That's actually a quote, I'm sorry. William Shakespeare and Julius Caesar. Part 1. Dark Descent. I sung of chaos and eternal night, taught by the heavenly muse to venture down the dark descent and up to reascend. John Milton, Paradise Lost. Alright, that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll read chapter 1.